I knew how it would end the moment Dr. Whitmore asked me to explain my role in simple terms. For 11 years, I kept the hospital running when nobody was looking. My name is Dr. Elena Voss. Not the kind of doctor who wears a white coat, but the kind who holds a PhD in healthcare systems administration and spent over a decade making sure 4,200 beds across 6 facilities never went dark. I managed bed allocation algorithms, patient flow metrics, emergency overflow protocols, and the intricate dance between surgery schedules and ICU capacity that most administrators didn't know existed until something broke. I didn't attend galas. I didn't give speeches at conferences. I sat in a cramped office on the 3rd floor of Building C, monitoring dashboards that tracked everything from ambulance diversion status to sterilization cycles in the surgical wing. When the system worked, nobody noticed me. When it failed, everyone did. The work wasn't glamorous. It was Excel sheets at 2 a.m., calibrating bed turnover rates during flu season. It was pre-positioning equipment before weather events. It was knowing that Trauma Bay 4 had a faulty monitor that only I remembered to flag for replacement every 6 months because it wasn't in anyone else's maintenance log. I built contingency plans for scenarios most people hoped would never happen: mass casualty events, power grid failures, infectious disease surges. I documented every decision, every pathway, every failsafe. The 3-ring binders in my office weren't decorative. They were survival manuals. Nobody read them. They just trusted that things worked because they always had. Then Dr. Marcus Whitmore arrived. He came from a prestigious university hospital on the coast, the kind of place where fundraising galas mattered more than daily operations. His resume listed advisory positions, keynote speeches, and a TED Talk about humanizing healthcare through transformational leadership. He wore designer glasses and carried a leather portfolio embossed with his initials. The board hired him to modernize our operations, which apparently meant replacing legacy thinking with innovative care delivery models. His first week, he called a mandatory all-staff meeting in the auditorium, stood on stage with a wireless microphone and a slide deck that said things like reimagine excellence and disrupt the status quo. Halfway through, he paused and gestured toward the balcony seats where support staff sat. Some roles, while historically valuable, may not align with our forward momentum. He looked directly at me when he said it. I took a sip of my coffee, didn't blink. After the meeting, he pulled me aside in the hallway, smiled that practiced smile. "Dr. Voss, I've reviewed your position. Bed management seems like something our new integrated software platform can handle. Have you documented your processes?" I nodded. "Everything's in the protocol manuals, 23 volumes, indexed and cross-referenced." He chuckled. "I'm sure we won't need all that. Our system is intuitive, user-friendly." I said nothing. "We'll need you to train your replacement," he continued. 2 weeks should be sufficient." "Who's my replacement?" "Mitchell Chen. He's coming from the consulting firm we've partnered with. Very sharp. MBA from a top program." I knew Mitchell, not personally, but by reputation. He'd written a white paper on hospital efficiency that proposed eliminating redundant administrative layers. He'd never worked in an actual hospital. I didn't argue, just asked when he'd start. Monday. Mitchell arrived wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly salary and a confidence that suggested he'd never been wrong about anything in his life. On his first day, I handed him the first protocol manual. It was 4 inches thick, spiral-bound, with tabs marking sections, standard operations, emergency protocols, seasonal adjustments, equipment logistics, staffing contingencies. He flipped through 3 pages. "This is a lot of paper." "It's a lot of hospital," I said. He set it aside. "I prefer digital workflows. More efficient." I opened my laptop and showed him the master dashboard I'd built, real-time bed availability across all 6 facilities, color-coded by acuity level, with predictive algorithms that flagged potential bottlenecks for hours before they occurred. He squinted at the screen. "Why is it so complicated?" "Because healthcare is complicated. But our new software simplifies all this. It's AI-powered, auto-optimizes." I pulled up the new platform the board had purchased. Clean interface, minimal data fields, friendly graphics. "Where does it pull ICU capacity from?" I asked. "The system." "Which system?" He frowned. The hospital system. We have 6 separate facility management systems, 4 different EMR platforms, 3 distinct surgical scheduling tools. How does your software integrate them? Mitchell's smile tightened. It's designed to aggregate data streams. From where? From wherever they are. I pulled up the integration architecture. I'd spent 3 years building custom API bridges, manual data validation protocols, backup feeds for when systems went down. This is what connects them, I said. The software doesn't aggregate automatically. Somebody has to map the data sources, validate the inputs, and reconcile discrepancies. That's what I do. Mitchell waved a hand. I'm sure the platform handles it. I didn't respond, just pulled up the next screen. Over the following 2 weeks, I walked him through everything. Showed him how to override the auto-allocation algorithm when it tried to send cardiac patients to orthopedic floors. Explained why the bed turnover model needed manual adjustment during shift changes. Demonstrated the emergency cascade protocol for when multiple facilities hit capacity simultaneously. He took notes on his tablet, nodded a lot, asked clarifying questions that revealed he wasn't retaining anything. On his 3rd day, he tried to reallocate 20 ICU beds to general medical floors because the AI suggested it would improve utilization efficiency. I quietly reversed it before any patients were moved. On his 7th day, he deleted a backup protocol file because it looked like a duplicate. It wasn't. I restored it from my personal archive. On his 10th day, Dr. Whitmore stopped by to observe. Stood in the doorway with his arms crossed, smiling like a proud parent. How's it going, Mitchell? Great. I'm streamlining things. A lot of Elena's processes were overcomplicated. Dr. Whitmore nodded. That's what we thought. Good instincts. I said nothing, just returned to my screen. My last day was a Friday. I arrived at 5 a.m., same as always. Ran a full system check, bed availability verified across all sites, equipment inventories confirmed, staffing ratios balanced, emergency protocols tested. Everything was stable. Then I did something I'd never done before. I created a parallel backup of the entire operational database, not in the hospital's official archive, but on an encrypted external drive I kept in my desk drawer. Not sabotage, just insurance. I updated the final protocol manual entry with a single note, system dependencies mapped in Appendix R. Do not modify core allocation algorithms without validating cross-facility impact. I didn't expect anyone to read it. At 4 p.m., Dr. Whitmore came to my office, shook my hand, thanked me for my service. We're in good hands now, he said. Mitchell's already implementing some great efficiencies. I nodded. I hope so. He smiled. Change is good, Dr. Voss. Sometimes we have to let go of the old ways. I looked at him for a moment. The old ways kept people alive. His smile didn't waver. I'm sure the new ways will too. I handed him my badge. Walked out without saying goodbye to anyone except Mariana, the night shift nursing supervisor who'd worked with me for 8 years. She pressed a folded note into my hand as I passed. Outside, I sat in my car for a moment. Read the note. They're going to regret this. Call me if you need anything. I folded it carefully, put it in my pocket, and drove away. Behind me, the hospital hummed. Monitors blinked. Patients slept. The system I'd built continued running on autopilot. For now, Mitchell's first week solo started smoothly. The AI platform displayed cheerful green indicators. Bed utilization looked optimal. Dr. Whitmore praised him in a staff email. What nobody noticed was that the system wasn't optimizing. It was coasting. The algorithms I'd built included dozens of invisible checks, predictive flags for seasonal patterns, early warnings for equipment maintenance cycles, soft alerts for staffing shortages before they became critical. Mitchell had silenced most of them, called them notification fatigue. On Tuesday, the AI auto-allocated 8 post-surgical patients to a wing that was scheduled for deep cleaning. Mitchell approved it without checking. Mariana caught it during evening rounds. Quietly rerouted the patients herself. Didn't escalate. On Wednesday, the platform suggested consolidating ICU beds across facilities to balance load. Mitchell implemented it. By Thursday, 2 facilities had 0 ICU surge capacity. When a trauma case came in, The ambulance had to divert to another hospital 20 minutes away. The patient survived. Barely. Mitchell told Dr. Whitmore it was an anomaly. On Friday, the software crashed during a routine update. When it came back online, 3 weeks of bed allocation history was gone. Mitchell called IT. They told him the system didn't keep backups beyond 7 days. He tried to restore from the hospital's data archive. Found nothing. My custom backup protocols hadn't been transferred to the new system. He called me. I didn't answer. He emailed. I replied with one line. All documentation was provided during transition period. I am no longer employed by the hospital. By Monday, the whispers had started. Nursing staff noticed patients being placed in inappropriate units. Surgeons complained about schedule conflicts the system used to prevent. The emergency department reported increased diversion incidents. Dr. Whitmore called an operational review meeting. Mitchell presented the AI dashboard. Everything looked fine on the surface: green indicators, acceptable utilization percentages, positive trend lines. Then the chief of surgery asked a simple question: why were 3 elective cardiac procedures canceled last week due to ICU unavailability when the system showed open beds? Mitchell blinked. The AI optimized the allocation. Optimized how? It balanced capacity across facilities by moving ICU capacity away from the cardiac center. Silence. The chief of nursing spoke up. We've had 4 medication delays this month because equipment wasn't where the system said it would be. That never happened before. Dr. Whitmore's jaw tightened. These are growing pains. The new system needs time to calibrate. The chief medical officer, Dr. Rahman, who rarely spoke in meetings, leaned forward. Where's the contingency protocol for mass casualty events? Mitchell hesitated. In the platform. Show me. Mitchell clicked through menus. Found a generic template that listed notify relevant departments and activate emergency procedures. Dr. Rahman stared at it. This is a checklist from a textbook. Where's the actual protocol? The facility-specific procedures, the staffing matrices, the equipment prepositioning plans. That should be in the system. It's not. Silence stretched. Dr. Rahman turned to Dr. Whitmore. Elena had a 300-page manual for this. It included facility layouts, alternative power procedures, supply chain backup contacts, and step-by-step decision trees. Where is it? Dr. Whitmore shifted. I'm sure it's archived somewhere. Find it. They found the manuals in my old office, exactly where I'd left them. All 23 volumes. Untouched. Mitchell tried to implement them, but quickly realized the procedures referenced systems, contacts, and protocols he didn't understand. The manuals weren't instructions, they were a map of an ecosystem he'd never learned to navigate. On Tuesday, a water main break forced the evacuation of 40 patients from Facility 3. The AI suggested redistributing them evenly across the other 5 facilities. Mitchell approved it. Within 2 hours, 3 facilities were over capacity. Surgical procedures were delayed. ER wait times doubled. 2 patients deteriorated waiting for beds. Mariana called me that night. It's falling apart, Elena. They don't know what they're doing. I didn't respond. Just listened. Will you come back? No. They need you. They fired me. Silence. Then, people are going to get hurt. I closed my eyes. I left them everything they needed. If they chose not to use it, that's not on me. But it felt hollow. On Wednesday, the board called an emergency session. Dr. Whitmore stood at the head of the table, no longer smiling. We've identified some transitional challenges with the new operational model. Transitional challenges. Dr. Rahman's voice was ice. We've had 6 near-miss events in 2 weeks. Our patient placement error rate has tripled. We're diverting ambulances at twice the previous rate. This isn't transitional. This is systemic failure. A board member asked, what happened to the person who managed this before? Dr. Voss was part of a restructuring initiative. Can we bring her back? Dr. Whitmore's face reddened. We replaced her position with a more modern solution. The modern solution is failing. Another board member spoke up. Do we have legal exposure here? The hospital's attorney cleared her throat. If we can demonstrate adequate knowledge transfer during the transition, no. But if we terminated an employee whose departure directly led to patient care issues? She paused. We have a problem. Dr. Whitmore straightened. The knowledge transfer was adequate. She provided documentation. It's not our fault if the systems weren't compatible. Dr. Ramon cut in. You hired someone with no operational healthcare experience to replace an expert with 11 years of institutional knowledge. Then you ignored the manual she left behind because they didn't fit your AI platform. That's not a compatibility issue. That's negligence. The room went silent. The board chair spoke carefully. Has anyone reached out to Dr. Voss? She's not responding to calls. Have we made a formal offer? We terminated her 2 weeks ago. I don't think. Make the offer. The email arrived Thursday morning. Formal. Measured. From the board chair himself. Dr. Voss, we recognize that your departure created unforeseen operational challenges. We would like to discuss your return in a consulting capacity to assist with system stabilization. Please advise your availability and terms. I read it twice. Then I made coffee and sat on my porch, watching the morning fog. I thought about the patients, about Mariana and the nurses working double shifts to compensate, about Dr. Ramon, who'd always treated me with respect. I thought about Dr. Whitmore's smug smile when he'd called my work legacy thinking. I thought about Mitchell deleting my protocols because they looked like duplicates. Then I opened my laptop and composed a response. Thank you for your inquiry. I'm currently engaged in several consulting projects. My availability for your organization would be limited to a defined scope with the following terms. Comprehensive operational audit, $15,000. System restoration consulting, $400 per hour, 20-hour minimum. On-call emergency support, $500 per hour. All previous protocols and documentation to be formally reinstated. Direct reporting to the board, not operational leadership. Contract duration, 90 days, renewable by mutual agreement. Please confirm acceptance of these terms before I allocate capacity. I didn't mention that I had exactly 0 other consulting projects. Didn't mention that my rate was 3 times my previous salary. Didn't mention that I designed the terms to make them squirm. I hit send and went back to my coffee. The response came in 4 hours. Terms accepted. Can you start Monday? I walked back into the hospital on Monday morning carrying the external drive I'd backed up on my last day. The first person I saw was Mitchell, looking like he hadn't slept in days. He tried to smile. Elena. Dr. Voss. Thank you for coming back. I walked past him without responding. Dr. Whitmore was waiting in his office, stood when I entered, tried to extend his hand. I didn't take it. Just sat down. Dr. Voss, I want to acknowledge that the transition didn't go as smoothly as anticipated. We're hoping you can help us stabilize things. I pulled out a tablet. Before we begin, I need answers to 4 questions. 1. Do I have full access to all operational systems effective immediately? He hesitated. Yes. 2. Are my previous protocols being reinstated as official hospital policy? We'll need to review them. That's a no. Either they're reinstated, or I'm walking out right now. His jaw tightened. They'll be reinstated. 3. Who has operational authority during this engagement? You'd report to me, but have significant autonomy. No, I report to the board. Not you. Not Mitchell. The board. Or I leave. He looked like he wanted to argue. Didn't. Fine. 4. Is Mitchell-chin still employed here? He's on administrative leave pending review. I nodded. Good. Now let's talk about what you broke. It took 6 weeks to stabilize the system. The first week, I worked 18-hour days rebuilding the data integration protocols Mitchell had deleted, restored the backup feeds, recalibrated the allocation algorithms, reinstated the early warning systems. The AI platform stayed. I just demoted it from decision maker to suggestion engine. The second week, I retrained the operational staff on the protocols they'd ignored, walked them through the contingency manuals page by page, made them demonstrate competency before I signed off. The third week, I ran disaster drills, simulated mass casualty events, power failures, IT outages, identified 17 gaps Mitchell had created, fixed them all. By week 6, the hospital was running smoothly again. Diversion rates dropped. Patient placement errors disappeared. Surgical schedules stabilized. Dr. Rahman stopped me in the hallway. "Thank you." I nodded. "We should have listened to you." "Yes," I said. "You should have." At the 90-day mark, the board made an offer. Director of Operational Systems, expanded authority, 30% salary increase, guaranteed seat at executive meetings. I declined. Instead, I accepted a position at a competing hospital network across the state. Double my original salary, my own department, and a clause in my contract that said no operational changes could be implemented without my written approval. Dr. Whitmore sent me an email on my last day. "I hope there are no hard feelings." I didn't respond. Mariana asked me why I didn't stay. "You won everything. You could have his job if you wanted." I shook my head. I didn't want his job. I just wanted him to understand what he'd lost. She smiled. "Do you think he does?" "No, but the board does, and that's enough." 6 months later, I heard Dr. Whitmore was asked to resign. The board cited strategic misalignment. Mitchell's white paper was quietly retracted after multiple hospitals identified factual errors. The hospital still uses the AI platform, but it's supervised by someone who understands what it can't do. I don't think about them much anymore. I'm too busy building something better. But sometimes, late at night when I'm reviewing operational protocols in my new office, I remember that meeting where Dr. Whitmore asked me to explain my role in simple terms. And I smile. Because some things can't be simplified. Some things just need to be done right. And when you fire the person who knows how, you don't get a replacement. You get a reckoning. The end.